Hey folks, from NetPlay Studios, I'm Chris McDougall, and this is Brewjam TV. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at the Marshall Fridge. So this is the fridge we're starting with. It's the 4.4 cubic foot black edition Marshall fridge. We're going to do an overview of the fridge itself. We're going to look at a comparison of the different versions of the Marshall fridge, and I'm going to give a review of how I feel the fridge performs after having used it. You can pick them up at marshallfridge.com in the US or marshallfridge.ca here in Canada. We are not actually going to be using this fridge for storing cans and bottles. We're going to be converting this into a kegerator. So if that video has already been posted at the time that you're viewing this, you should see a link up here. If you like what you see, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification button to get notified when the next video comes out. Okay, so when my fridge arrived, I must say that I was so excited to get it out of the box that I missed doing an unboxing video. Here it is though, in all of its glory. Inside it's got your typical array of shelves, as well as storage for cans and bottles here in the door. It's got a freezer at the top, and it even comes with a little mini ice tray. Cute. On the outside, I must say that I'm pretty impressed with the fit and finish. They're made with parts from real Marshall amps, and when you turn the knobs and flip the switches, it actually made me think that it'd be pretty cool to build an amplifier, like a real amplifier, into the door of the fridge. Leave me a comment if you'd like to see me build an amplifier into the door of the Marshall fridge. Okay, so the fridge would definitely look at home in your studio or jam space. This one's actually going to live in our living room because it's close to the door to the backyard and it's on the main floor where we spend most of our time. Okay, so that's been our overview of the fridge. Let's take a look at a comparison now of the different versions of the Marshall fridge. This is the marshallfridge.ca homepage. And if you go on it, you'll see the two fridges that are currently for sale, which are the 4.4 series, which is the one that I own, and the 3.2 series. And so the big difference between, obviously apart from the size, the big difference between the 4.4 and the 3.2 are this freezer compartment that's present on the 4.4 that there is not on the 3.2. The door configuration is a little bit different as well. They both have the same style, but this one has a plastic shelf, for lack of a better word, whereas the 4.4 version has bars like these ones here, and three shelves in each of them. So they actually give you a comparison chart as well. So apart from the difference in capacity, they have the dimensions listed for both. Obviously a different temperature range because one of them has the freezer and the other one doesn't. Interior light, they both have an interior light. It's a nice blue-violet interior light. It's probably one of my favorite parts of the interior. Interior color is black. Both of them have the reversible door that allow you to take the hinge off of one side and put it on the other. They both have the adjustable glass shelf and are both CFC free. Here's the weight, width, height, depth, etc. Now these are the current versions as of the publishing date of this video of the Marshall fridge. They were actually two, maybe three versions beforehand. Okay, so I was actually able to borrow a second fridge. And this is the old version, so we can do a side-by-side comparison between the old version here on the right and mine, which is the newer version, black version, on the left. From the outside, ostensibly, not a lot of difference, especially if you're just looking at the door. The most glaring difference, I would say, is that on the old version of the fridge, the knobs go up to 11, whereas on the new one, they go up to just 10. The knobs themselves, as well as the switches, feel just about the same. This one still has its plastic covering on it. Inside the fridge is where we see the most difference, so I'll open both of them. Okay, so right off the bat, you'll notice that one of these fridges has a black interior and the other one has a white interior. The newer version that they sell at the time of this video being produced in June of 2020 is the black edition Marshall fridge, whereas the white one is an old, same 4.4. So if you're looking for the easiest way to tell the difference between the two, black interior versus white interior, that's where it's at. So they both have a freezer section and a freezer section there. Another one here. They both look about the same size. Apart from that, we can see that the coolant line that runs up to the freezer on the black version of the fridge is on the left. In the white version, it's over on the right. You can just see it barely there in the corner. The old version of the fridge that I got for the purposes of this video has only 2 shelves, whereas the new one has 3 shelves, not including the freezer tray up here. So I'm not sure if the old version came with 2 shelves or 3, but that might be something worth noting. The door panel configuration, that's a big difference. Okay, so here's the two doors side by side. You can see the black edition on the left has one big shelf on the bottom, whereas the white fridge has this kind of can dispenser. I prefer the newer version with the one long shelf because I was able to get more bottles into it, bigger bottles like 750 milliliter wine bottles or 750 ml or 1 liter liquor bottles or even a 2 liter. The control units of the fridges are different. Here's the one in the black version compared to this one over here in the white version. They look similar, but they're not exactly the same. The old version that I got only came with 2 shelves, shelf number 1, shelf number 2. And in the black edition, you've got the 3 shelves. Now it's worth noting that when I filled this up with beer, I ended up actually removing one of the shelves so that I could get more bottles upright, which if you've ever brewed your own beer, you know that you need to keep the beers upright so that the yeast settles at the bottom. Okay, so here we have the rear of both fridges, and here's where we get to determining that these are actually totally different fridges. On the left here we have the black version, and on the right is the older white version. The model numbers on the left, the black version, the model number is MF4.4BLK-NA, and on the right it is MF-110-XMC. Okay, so looking at stuff like the compressor, we can tell that the compressors are a similar size, but not the same unit. As well, we have the lines that run on opposite directions, the coolant line, and yeah, they're different. This probably won't help anybody service these fridges if they needed to, but hopefully it provided some additional information to somebody that just wants to be able to tell the difference between one fridge and the other. Okay, so now it's time for the review portion of the video where I give my personal opinion of the fridge, now having owned it for a little bit. So what do I think? It's a great fridge. Some of the things that I like about it are the build quality, the fit and finish of the fridge itself, the exterior components, the materials that it's made of, all feel pretty substantial. They don't feel cheap, right down to the rivets. The knobs are the real thing. The switches are the real thing. From the front, the logos, everything, I mean, it looks like an amplifier. In fact, people, when they see it for the first time in the studio, often mistake it for an amplifier. So that's kind of cool. In terms of the operation noise, it is reasonably quiet. One of the things that I was a little bit concerned about putting it in the studio for this video is that it would be loud and it would distract me from my work and so on and so forth. And I found that it was reasonable. I could work with it and, you know, it would not get in the way of everyday activities. I did actually unplug the fridge to do the voiceovers for this video, but that's not something that I wouldn't typically do for basically anything that makes noise in the studio. But, you know, for normal use, it's fine. It's you know, quiet enough that it doesn't get in the way. All right, folks, that's going to be it for this video. If you haven't already, please like, comment, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one where we're going to turn this fridge into a kegerator. Cheers.